All right, so this episode is about basically any and everybody looking at their bank account, trying to figure out where the fuck their money went. Okay, you got a hustle, on the side, you work a 9 to 5, you got small businesses, you have big businesses, you got a 6-7 figure job, and at the top of the month, you got 60,000 auto debits coming out your account. And you're like, yo, where the fuck is my money going? I'm your girl, Cokes. Welcome to the Muscle Hustle Podcast. Another episode. Make sure to subscribe at the Muscle Hustle Podcast on all social media platforms. Talking Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, we are on it. I'm blessed to have my mans up on here once again. LP, what's good?
Yeah, I'm good. You know, I'm here in my quarter zip because I figured
here we go.
If I'm going to do this the right way, a finance conversation requires a quarter zip. So I want to make sure I played the role in real life today. Yeah.
And just so y'all know, this is not going to be your one-time thing because
this is the last. What are you talking about?
When I put this out on Instagram, mind you, I have 2 pages that are pretty active and
Correct.
They go with each other, right? First 15 minutes, y'all sent me 60 questions. I didn't even go any further. I was like, all right, cool. Then my brother, my younger brother at that, sent me another 10.
That's good. And keep in mind, so by trade, I think we've had this conversation before. I'm an investment advisor. You can find me at TRG-Financial online. We do a suite of services. So I think I might be equipped to answer just a few of these questions. Not many, though.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It may not be a lot. I'm going to stray you down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Say less. We going to that. It's about to be another series.
Okay, so one time. You got 18 minutes. Let's get it cracking.
All right. Savings versus investment.
Okay.
What's better?
Well, better is relative.
Okay.
So what I would always encourage people is that you should always have some form of savings prior or in the same time frame as your investment. So let me give you an example.
Yeah, please.
Often there's like an order of operations when you're thinking finance. If you have debt, you may not be in a situation where you're able even to save or invest.
Correct.
Okay. So I encourage people, if you were to have a conversation with me in a more general term, the first thing I'm going to look at is the level of debt that you might have, because that interest that you're paying could be inhibiting the fact that you can't save, which then in turn might stop you from being able to invest.
Yeah, because it just looks like, oh, I'm always in debt. And so therefore, why even, people are still struggling I'm gonna be frank, I know some people who are still struggling to just save $500. But yet I'm looking at like their subscriptions and I'm looking at like the way that they move. And I'm not saying don't enjoy life or nothing like that, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, what's a starter?
Yeah, well, an average American cannot afford an emergency of $400 or more if it came up right now. That's the average American. Like, and an emergency could be a variety of things. A tire, on the car.
Okay.
A AC at the house. A illness from a pet or a family member that you may not be able to cover. So most people, that's why that level of debt may incur you or stop you from being able to save that money that you need to save. So while investing in savings to me kind of can go hand in hand, I would always encourage people first, do what you can to pay off debt, especially if it's unsecured and high interest. Save, maybe get that nest egg. You've probably heard 3 to 6 months of your living expenses, and then investments kind of flow right behind that. There's no order necessarily, except trying to clear some of that unsecured high interest debt first.
Okay. In regards of, let's say, where to save, because right now, again, you definitely see a lot of social media posts, gurus that are pretty much, hey, you want some more information? You want a link to my call or whatever the case might be, hit me up or whatever. But there's so much different information out there. It's really hard to cipher through. So in regards of like the type of banking to start with, right? Right now, one of the biggest things I've started seeing is the Fidelity, the Schwab, things like that, right? But then it's almost like they're downplaying the Navy Feds, the Apple credit unions as well too, right?
Yeah.
In regards to saving.
So there's a few different things.
Okay.
Let's take back COVID, and as the interest rates started to spike on what the Fed would lend. So I'm not going to get real down in the weeds, but there were people who were able to go get high interest savings accounts at any bank that was paying them a pretty good yield.
That's the HYSA, right?
No, high yield savings account. Exactly.
All
yeah.
Right. Just want to know because, there's a whole bunch of acronyms out there.
Yeah. So a high yield savings account is basically an account through a banking institution that almost any bank would offer some form of this, where, they're going to pay you a premium based on what they're able to collect, and that interest is paid back to you. So you get a higher interest rate because interest rates just in general are higher across the board.
Right.
So that's one way. But you can add an investment account at a variety of places. I offer investment accounts through my firm as well.
Okay.
So people can, one, use their investment account towards savings. But keep in mind, anytime you're using an investment account towards savings, those dollars are at risk. When the dollars are in the banking institution, they're FDIC insured, while they're still that way in the investment environment, but the investment environment includes risk, where if you're in a banking institution, those dollars are just sitting in just a savings account. They may earn interest, they may not, but they're not at risk.
Is that also the reason why the interest that it may potentially earn is so low?
Yeah, the difference between interest or investment gains is a vast swath. Investment gains, you're buying into the success or failure of a company or a fixed income interest like a municipal bond, etc. The savings account, you're basically just getting what the rate is. That's the going rate that the government is paying based on dollars that are in the banking institutions.
Okay. I hope y'all tracking.
Yeah. These are simple but complex for a reason. So what happens is the information that people may sell on a call or things like that are all the stuff that we're about to talk about today.
Right.
And the reason why you're able to sell that information is because it is difficult to manage it at all times. Your life situation may change. You had a job, you had a partner, you move situations, you've got a taxable event, you got an illness. There's a variety of things that may require you to shift and change the way you manage your money. And that's why this industry is valuable, because there's a lot of different rules that you could fall under that you don't have the capacity to look at that every day. So that's why professionals are involved in that.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. ROI.
Okay. So return on investments. So to me, I kind of look at that in three different ways. You have return on investments for example, let's say the Hive. Okay. So let's say I put in a piece of a good bit of money for this. I want to say a small amount, but someone's going to see this. No, I'm lying. So let's say you put in a bucket of money here. I'm anticipating a return on the investment from the efforts of this building. Okay. Now, in the investment world, return on investment is completely different.
Okay.
Because you have to understand how to evaluate a company, or understand if you're going to receive some type of dividend on the back end.
The evaluation of the company, how many times a year is that usually?
So for me, I'm looking at investments that I'm engaged in usually once a quarter.
Okay. All right.
Because at that time, you'll start getting earnings from the organizations. You'll start getting balance sheets. You'll start getting profit and loss statements, because usually on a quarterly basis and then on an annual basis, there's always a earnings situation that happens where companies will come out and say, hey, we either met our marks or we missed our marks. And that's will let you determine what type of return you might receive on this investment. Okay. And then I'll get a little in the weeds on this, but not far. There's also what's called price to earnings ratio. And what the price to earnings are, based on the earnings of that organization, there's a price that's fixed on how much that investment should be. And most of the time it's a multiple of what that earnings is. And that's what you'll definitely pay based on the investment. And then hopefully you get that in return on what the investment earns on the back end.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So would you honestly say that they should actually look into that as well too as a starter?
I think for if you're a new person to savings or investing, I would use the low lift type things. For example, and this isn't an ad or an advertisement, like an Acorns account.
Okay.
An account that you don't have to do much with, where they're going to get you a nice, equity distribution, fixed income distribution. They're going to build a portfolio based on your age.
Okay.
And then from there, they'll just take money out of your account once a month. You'll never see it. Or again, I'm not going to plug myself, or go to someone like a professional that can look at you, your demographics, what you have either at your job or not at your job, and they can come up with a strategy or a plan for you for relatively cheap. It's less expensive than people think. And then they can be along your wealth journey, your accumulation journey, making adjustments and moving the needle along the way.
Do you find that, do you think it's the title in itself that pretty much puts a stigma on your profession to where you have folks who actually automatically assume like, oh, you're way out of my league, an advisor in itself and trying to help me with my financing right now. I can't even put 500 in my account.
Absolutely. I think what has happened in my industry, especially if you look at Black and brown people, my industry had always had asset minimums to work with people. So they would say, hey, I'm not even going to work with Susie Q because you don't have $1 million to invest with me, or you don't have an account that I could transfer over that's got $500,000. And the way I started and the way I've, working to ramp up is I just didn't believe that was beneficial to people. Everyone deserves some type of education, some type of financial plan, and then we can grow together. Yeah, as my organization grows, there are people that'll grow with me as well. Yeah,
it honestly does make sense, but I hope y'all listening because really, it's not as far-fetched as you think. You know
not
what
at
I'm
all.
saying? And honestly, like, you too can succeed. So
yeah. And you got to remember, like, all of us are in some form of journey. I think people have fancy titles, fancy names. I've got a lot of credentials, but that doesn't mean I still struggle with the same things that my clients don't, or that people who come into the building don't. It's just maybe I've got a little more blocking and tackling on how to handle things as they come up.
That too, okay.
Because I've built systems to support it.
And on top of that, you're real with it as well, because
I'm
those
honest.
that are literally flashy with it, that make it seem like they got their stuff together, they crying behind closed doors.
Yeah, this is tough. Like, one, business is hard. 2, managing money is difficult. And 3, just your own finances. And money is an emotional thing. Like, what people don't understand is that dwindling bank account is an emotion. It has nothing to do with the finance, because we all make money back. But the emotion of losing it or fear of missing out is really what I help people with. I'm half counselor, half consultant.
Making the money back is not the problem. It's staying.
It's staying. Exactly.
Stay and multiply. I want to see you grow. Like, come on.
Nah, I'm with that for sure.
Because the lifestyle that I want to live.
That's the problem. See, people need to sometimes temper their expectations.
I don't want to be deprived of life's enjoyment.
Delayed gratification will be the name of this episode, because that's what matters probably the most.
We're going to put that in quotes at the bottom of where the fuck did my money go. All right. So I had a couple questions.
Yeah.
That I'm going to probably just time out there. Chris Dredd on Instagram said, I see everybody talking about operating versus from a trust.
Yeah.
What can you talk about that?
Yeah. So trusts are vehicles that either protect your assets or give direction on what should happen with your assets, either at the time of a death, at the time of a sale, or if there's a family office that's set up for your family. So a lot of people, you can operate out of a trust to protect yourself from certain things that may occur, from lawsuits. For example, people set up LLCs.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's not a trust,
Right.
But if you're thinking what the LLC does, it's a limited liability. So it's protecting you in the event that something happens in your organization from your personal finances. A trust, to a degree, I'm trying to make it more layman's terms, is a way to either protect and or organize your family's assets in a way that in the event of an untimely death, or in the event of something happening where you need a liquidation event, you now have the ability to not have to go to like a probate court or someone coming in to make a claim on your assets,
Hmm.
because that's in a trust. So I always encourage people, if you've got a level of assets where you feel like could be at risk or need some additional protection, a trust attorney or someone who could help you with will and testament or someone who can help you with estate planning is always the way to go.
Okay. Um, Ken Ray Joe off on Instagram as well too. He said, "What's the biggest opportunity I'm not taking advantage of right now?"
I would say just being in the market in general. On average, the market will do anywhere from 8 to 10%. And that's on a long period. Now we'll have years like COVID where it may have went down 15%, but that following year, we're right back up 20 and we've been roaring ever since. Like since COVID, every year that market has grown, except for a little blip after in 2022 for a bit. It's been growing at a rapid pace. So if you are on the market right now, even if you're in a small vehicle like a S&P 500 fund, you can take advantage of what the market is doing. So if you're not in the market in some way, do it through your job, your 401k, get you an IRA, talk to someone like myself. We want to make sure that you're taking advantage of some of this market activity.
Okay. What tax strategies should I be using that I'm not currently using right now?
So the first, I would say that if you work at a job, take advantage. Not, again, these are general advice. I would say if you're at a job, I always encourage people to take advantage of as many of those pre-tax deductions as you can. Because what the government is doing is they're allowing you, in lieu of paying those taxes, you get to take out all of that benefit on a pre-tax side. And one of the biggest things that people miss is they don't fulfill the entire match that they receive from their organization. So if you've got a 401k at your job or a 403b or a 457, and they say, hey, if you put in 6%, we'll match that 6%. You got to do everything you can to get that free 6% because it's legitimately free money. Now you're earning it. It's what they call you're deferring the income, but it's still money they're giving you. And you got to take advantage of that as much as possible. And then those pre-tax deductions will always help you reduce your taxable income and get you in a better situation at the end of the year.
So if you're a contractor.
Yeah. Now, if you're a contractor, you probably aren't eligible for the retirement plan, but you probably are eligible for the voluntary plan at your organization.
I see.
Which means that you can still do tax deferred deductions. You probably going to need to go talk to your HR department.
Gotcha. Okay. The best way to use other people's money.
Yeah.
That's from classic Fit Beauty _ DC.
Other people money is what I just gave you an example of. Your job. If your job is going to match you investing in the money in the market, you got to take advantage of that because they're going to give you those dollars. Now, on an investment side, the best way, again, this is more general because this isn't advice, it's just a conversation. Partnerships are great. If you have a talent and or a skill, being able to use your talent or skill and attaching it with someone with money, you all can come up with a partnership where you may do the bulk of the work, but they receive a lot of the dividend on the back end. But now you're able to build your business on top of paying someone who invested in what your skill was. So I always encourage people to do something like that. If you've got a talent, a skill, something that you can do, but you don't necessarily have the resources, there are there are angel investors. There are people who do money on things like that just for the potential of growth. So that's what I always encourage people to do there.
I've heard of angel investors and stuff like that. I'm usually I would say I know initially I was skeptical about it, but I've heard some people who actually really took it upon themselves to go do that. And is there anything that you would recommend as far as for folks who actually are kind of on the fence, but they kind of want to know a little bit more?
Yeah. Private investing, separate as the market, private investing is one of the largest things that's out there. Like just private individuals who have money on the side who are willing to extend that. But you have to make a real compelling case for a private investor, maybe even more so than a bank.
And honestly, speaking like a retired athlete that was sponsored, there's a difference, right? You have private investing and then you also have sponsorship. So
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure that we're not talking about a stipend for you and all that other stuff just because you're selling somebody's service or product or whatever like that. This is something totally different, but I wanted to make sure I made that very clear.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, sponsors are different. They have no expectation of receiving a return or
Gotcha.
ROI on their investment. The angel investor, a private equity investor, or a banking institution that you're with, they definitely have an expectation of receiving some type of income back.
Okay. And another question from Manny Michelle. The best way to generate passive income through investments for money saved.
Okay, so that's a layered question.
It
though.
seems like
It is a layered question, but I'll be general. So if you want to generate some passive income, then dividend style investments, separate of the market in general, because the market is going to generate you some passive income, but it's going to be income that it's stuck in the market. You know, it's just going to be in there. Your account will grow. It'll grow over time. And you'll one day look up, hey, I've got an account balance that I didn't think I would have, because you're earning interest. That compounding is real. But if you're trying to earn some income also, you might want to look at dividend style investing. The dividend style investing is where a company on a quarterly, annual, 6-month basis, they pay their shareholders a dividend. And that dividend can be a form of cash that's put back into your account. I often, would encourage people again to reinvest that maybe or something. Right. But sometimes people take those dividends and they end up paying the taxes on them and things like that. There are some rules around that you need to look into, but that's a way that you can generate some passive income through the market, dividend style investing.
Money Making Will in Virginia was asking about IULs.
Okay, give me what that acronym stands for.
I think
because there's different terms for everything. So let me look up something real quick, just to make sure that I don't say something wrong.
I know it's something with insurance.
I got you. Let me look real quick. This is a time where I want to make sure I say the right thing.
Universal life.
Yeah. Okay. So this is life insurance question. So insurance products come in a range of services. You've got everything from, final benefits for people, whole life policies, term life policies, and a universal life. Okay. The term life policies are policies where there's just a date out at the end, 20 years. You're going to pay this premium. If you pass within those 20 years, your family, your beneficiaries can receive the benefit of that life insurance policy. If you live longer than that 20 years, so be it. Those policies have a low premium. Okay. So for example, someone of my age, I might be able to get a, $500,000 policy for $30 a month. Okay. I cannot invest those dollars. I can't do anything with it. That's just what it is. Okay. Now, when you start getting to like the universal lives or the whole life or those type policies, they have a little more flexibility in their terms. Some of those policies, you can actually invest in the market.
I was about to say, is that why you see some people who actually are operating and they seem like they're getting a lot more richer than normal?
And sometimes those people can borrow against those policies. This is a deeper question. And I don't want to go too far because I wouldn't want someone to take this as advice, what I would say. But depending upon your health, your age, and there's a thing called a mortality table, okay, should determine what type of policy you get into. Do not just, I'll say this, do not just see people on social media being like, oh man, I'm in this type of life insurance and I'm running it up. Because that may not work for you and your health and your life and those things. You could end up in a situation where you could have been in a different type of product that better served you, your family, and your beneficiaries.
So once again, get an advisor.
Or healthy amount of research on those. Insurance products have been around for a long time for a reason. Insurance companies have huge buildings downtown for a reason. They're not in the business of giving out just money for nothing. So that's what I'll say.
Okay. Is a trust better than a will?
Well, they kind of go hand in
Hand in
hand.
hand?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So one's not better than the other. It really just depends on how your finances have been characterized. Have you had a W-2 job? Do you have a business? Do you have an asset account? Do you have a lot of real estate? So, for example, a trust may be great for holding a lot of real estate, but that will be great for the language on how that real estate is passed down. So there's just different ways that kind of can go hand in hand. That's a part of your estate planning process. I would encourage you, again, I hate to keep going back to this because I don't want to go too far in the advice, but talking to someone about the difference between those two, and then depending upon how you have your money, your assets, and your family situated, will let you know what should be in the trust versus what's stated in the will. But most of the time, they're going to talk the same language.
Okay. So you had mentioned estate planning.
Yeah.
Right? And I did have some questions that I saw kind of skimmed over in regards of like people investing in real estate, even if like they're living in an apartment or a condo and they're
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, I want to be able to start putting money in towards real estate, however the case might be.
Yeah.
Right. What are your thoughts on that? Because that's also part of the estate.
Absolutely. And people got to understand that there's different types of real estate. There's physical, where, hey, I'm buying a structure. I own this structure. I'm going to operate this investment. There's also real estate investment trust. That's in the market. If you want a piece of real estate, you can go out right now. There are several mutual funds where you can go and buy. Now, you're not owning the physical real estate, but you're owning shares in companies that own physical real estate. It's a low lift. It's an easy way to get involved without having to ever see a property. And then another way that you can do it, you can be a part of investments that build groups together that are buying properties and doing things. So
or lots,
etc. Right? I mean, the real estate is probably one. I'm a part of an organization called Black Men Buy Houses. I firmly believe that one of the greatest ways to either generate wealth or secure wealth is through purchasing a home. Now, home prices are insane right now, and people say rates are higher, but the rate on a lease is 100% because you're earning no equity on that. You're getting nothing on that back. At least when you own a property, or if you're invested in vehicles that own properties, you get some advantages in that. So I would say that a part of your estate planning should always include, well, always, again, I'm being more general. Real estate should, or you should consider that as one of your asset classes that you invest in.
I'm actually really liking these questions though. Like I'm skimming through some of them and I'm just like, dang, I can't read this fast. You're going right through them. But I'm glad I picked the right person for it.
I don't know if I'm the right person. I might be giving out
information. It's the person that I feel comfortable
with. I might be
with.
giving out misinformation, y'all.
It's the person I feel comfortable with. And so, yeah, I trust homie with my money, okay? And again, like I said, I'm trying to make sure that my coins go.
No doubt. All right?
No doubt. All right. So honestly, just bringing it back. If somebody is just like, you know what? Okay, look, I see where they finally understand where their money is going.
Gotcha.
They finally understand that they need to cut back, probably live, below their means, or just make adjustments in their lifestyle so where they can be able to see things kind of move a little bit more fluid versus everything just everywhere, for whatever the case might be. If they were looking to start in whatever, saving, mutual funds, IRA, whatever the real estate, whatever the case might be, what can they start with now if they don't have any debt?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't care, even if you had debt.
Okay.
The first thing you need to start with is your employer. If your employer, so let's assume, because the majority of people out there work some form of W-2. And in that W-2, if you're benefit eligible, you're more than likely, if your employer has more than 20 employees, 30 employees, they're probably going to offer some type of retirement plan.
Yes.
Okay. So the lowest of lowest hanging fruit, and I don't care who you are. I work with billionaires. I tell them, hey, now their situations are a little different because they don't always earn income. So let me not use that example. Let's say I work with someone who has a 7-figure job. Where they have a W-2 where they legitimately are taking home $80,000 a month after taxes. I still tell them, hey, you better max out that 401k. I don't care how much money you're taking home. Take the free money from your job. That is the first start. Regardless, if you don't take that free money from your job, you're doing yourself a disservice. After that, you can get more strategic. Okay. If you still feel like you have discretionary income left over, no debt to pay off, you're comfortable with your expenses.
What's considered discretionary income?
After all of your fixed income expenses are done, that's your utilities, your vehicle, your housing, your food. Once those are taken care of, now we got some stuff to play with. And we could sit down and we could come up with a plan, and we would first talk about, okay, what do you really want to do in 5 years? Well, ultimately, what's your lifestyle? You mentioned lifestyle. Hey, I got things I want to do with my coins. Some people will say, well, man, all I really care about is making sure that I can go home every night, and I have to see 100,000 in my bank account every night. If I don't see 100,000 in my bank account, I'm stressed out. There are people that are like that. Now, there are some people that say, I'm going to ride it until I got negative 100,000. And, you got to be
your life.
But so for those people, I would say once we get through the hurdle of making sure that we take advantage of what's at your job, after that, you need to make a plan. You can't just jump in, because there is no starting point for everybody. I could easily say, hey, yeah, just go get a money market account, go get a fixed income, go get an Acorns, go start a Fidelity, get an S&P 500 fund. I could easily do those things, but that may not match what your goals are. You may have a kid saving for college.
I was about to say, what about age?
Yeah, you may need a 529 plan. Have you been putting money away for your kid for college? You may need a uniform gift to minors, where, hey, I got a lump sum. I can put this away for my, son or daughter in a way where they're not taxed at appropriate age when they're able to get those dollars. I need to see what your health insurance looks like. I need to, there are things that will let me know, hey, well, you're underinsured. Like that's the first thing, man. You have a chronic condition. So there's really more to and that's why I think this industry, people only think about, oh, well, you're only charging for making money. No, we're building you a lifestyle. Yeah, I'm sitting down with you and saying, hey, you take that hypertension medicine every month.
Call your ass out.
And because you're taking that, let's figure out a way to make sure that these things are secured, because as you get healthier, we're able to reach these goals. And all of that, your health coverage plays a role into that as well, because those ACA subsidies are about to go away. So that hypertension medicine that you pay for now may go up. So now you got less money in this bucket that you thought you had before. That's the type of planning we're doing. Like, hey, you sat down with me 6 months ago. You know that premium that we already accounted for, that was $600 a month, that's going to $1,800. So what can we really afford now? That's why you got to talk to people. That's why you got to have a professional on your team, because I'm thinking about that already. Like the people that I work with that are on the ACA, that are their premiums about to go up because they're going to lose that subsidy, I've been talking to them since September.
So again, all that surface shit that y'all be seeing on social media and stuff like that, there's more to it.
Oh yeah, there's layers. There's layers to it all. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's mainly. I mean, some of it does have truth to it. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I am appreciative of that, because those posts pretty much are opening eyes to situations where people now have these questions, because they're just like, they're inquisitive, which is good, because like amongst our community at first, nobody was asking questions.
Yeah, in our community, we don't talk about money. The one thing that our parents well, even if we rich, we don't talk about it. I think the broke or rich, the one thing that I feel like our parents maybe inhibiting us is they didn't give us a background to the finances.
No, they just said, don't be too quick to grow up.
Yeah, or we ain't, or they either said we ain't got it, or next thing you know, you had the present you asked for, or whatever. They never gave any perspective on, hey, this is how we manage the books. This is what we do. So when I work with people, I always encourage, if you have kids over the age of 11, they need to be in that first conversation, because then they'll really be able to see, oh, this is a family thing. It's not just mom and dad working, or mom breadwinner, dad breadwinner. We get to go to Kalahari because it was fun. No, there's a plan to get to Kalahari. There's a plan to get to Great Wolf Lodge. There's a plan to get to the Disney cruise. That's the kind of stuff. And then the kids, they'll carry that forward.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be more money mindful as they're moving forward in life too.
Because they start young.
Yeah, because they start. Hey, I got a 4-year-old that be asking for bread, and I'd be like, where'd you get this from? Because that don't make no sense for me. Like, you're 4, but she's also the one who beats me up. So that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah.
Any other gems that you would like to drop today, since you'll be back next month?
Stop there. You know what I'm saying? This is a one-time thing. We already established that.
Since you'll be back next month, any gems that you like to drop today where they could be able to manifest on it and really be able to like cipher through this episode as many times as you need to, and just be able to actually ask more questions, probably be able to take it to their advisor.
Which hopefully is me. I would encourage you to use me, but I would say this. The one thing that a lot of the influencers and people online do a great job of, a lot of it is mindset. There is a nihilism that people have about money that you should not have. And what I mean by that is everyone feels like the world is ending because they're broke. What they don't realize is you're broke right now. You're not broke forever. Like we always put our current situation as what our situation is going to be forever.
Yep.
And that's not true. That's not true of relationship status. That's not true of health. That's not true of finances. That's not true of your business. That's not true of anything. Life is long and short at the same time. We all get the same opportunities to gain, grow, lose, and build the life we want. So I've always been a person to say, design your life. Have a mindset that you're designing your life. Speak that into existence and be intentional about it. Because if you're not, you're going to find yourself getting inputs from people who do not have your best interest. And the people who do not have your best interest, they're going to see that quickly. And when they see that, then you're in a program where, oh man, I thought I was going to get this high level coaching, or I thought I was going to get that, because you're chasing things. We all have a vision.
Ooh.
We all understand what our purpose is. Get around the right people to help you find it.
Go ahead and give me your handle and where they can find you at.
You can find me on Instagram at The Hive Houston, the building we're in now. Or for personal reasons, you can find me at TRG. That's The Rollins Group. So TRG-financial.com.
Thank you.
Now, and this last time.
I ain't trying to
hear. You know what I'm saying?
You already know the vibes. The Muscle Hustle Podcast. Make sure to check out the website, themusclehustlepodcast.com. Also, again, thank y'all YouTube for subscribing. TikTok, I love y'all. I wasn't even on TikTok.
Nah, the TikTok going crazy. I was looking at the other day. Yeah,
what is going on?
It's going crazy. Yeah.
Instagram, thank y'all. I need to get these audio stuff up, but yeah, it's across the board. Same across the board. Like I said, keep sending me y'all stories. Keep sending me y'all questions. Keep sending me y'all suggestions. I am a DM, a message away.
And financial advice is not as expensive as you think. It is not.
Thank you.
It is not.
Because I'm about to consult as soon as we lock this down. All right. I'm your girl, Cokes, and we're out.